There's just something so cozy about filming a TBR jar video. I think just because we've been filming them for so long now. I think it's been over 2 years of me doing these almost every single month. And so every time I sit down to film one, I'm just like, it's good to be back, you know? And we didn't do one at the beginning of January. So it's been 2 months since I filmed my last one, but we're back. We have the TBR jar and I'm ready to choose my TBR for February. The TBR jar is actually looking pretty empty, for me at least. We have nothing on the bottom shelf, but I mean, we still have quite a few books here. I will say I do think there will be a book haul coming sometime in the next few weeks, so stay tuned for that. I'm sure we will be kind of replenishing this TBR cart. I kind of love when it's not completely full, so I'm not mad at this, but it does kind of make this a little bit more fun when there are a good amount of options, you know? Anyway, shall we get started? As per usual, I'll be picking out 6 prompts and finding a book to match with each prompt, and if I don't have a book that matches with the prompt, I will probably pick one on my Kindle or from the library or something like that. Especially now that we don't have a bazillion options, we might have to, but we'll see. You never know. Depends on the prompt. First prompt is book title that starts with the first letter of the month. So we need something that starts with F because we're going into February. Okay, we have Funny Feelings. We have The Front Runner. I don't know if that can count. Yeah, okay, that's literally it. I think I'm gonna go with Funny Feelings purely because that's one of the only options we have, and we do have The Front Runner by Elsie Silver. This was sent to me by the publisher, which I'm very thankful for, but it's not the first book in the series, so I actually don't know which book it is. Like, where does it fit? Is this a 3rd book? I'm not sure, but I kind of want to read that series in order, so I'll have to wait for that one. But we can go with Funny Feelings, which is great because this has been on my TBR for a long time. It's also a really like short and sweet book. I did start this at one point and I feel like I read maybe like 30 pages and then just never continued it. This is a rom-com and it's about a comedian that falls for her manager, her hot older manager Maya. Oh, but they're friends. She can't risk ruining their relationship by telling him how she truly feels. So he used to be a comedian and now he's a manager. Oh, and he's raising his deaf daughter Hazel. Stop. So he's a single father. So we have like a single parent romance, friends to lovers, which I love friends to lovers. Obviously, I guess like forced proximity because they like work together. And then it says it forces the pair to fake date in order to stir up publicity. So there are a lot of tropes going on in this book. It sounds like a lot of fun. I'm excited. First book for our TBR sorted. Prompt number 2. Ooh, shortest book on your TBR. I think that has to be Mysteries at Thorn Manor. Let's double check. This is like a novella, I want to say. It's 186 pages. Is Persuasion shorter than this? Oh no, this is over 200 pages. We have to go with Mysteries at Thorn Manor. This is it says a companion novel to the best-selling Sorcery of Thorns. Sorcery of Thorns is a book that I read at the end of 2023, I want to say, and I absolutely adored it. It was like a 4.5 star read for me. I want to say it's like a gothic fantasy romance. It has like a magical library. It's just very atmospheric. It's beautifully written and it just ticked so many boxes for me. I almost want to reread it, but as soon as I finished this, I knew that this book existed and I've just kind of always had my eye on it, but it's kind of like pricey for such a little book. Like I don't want to pay full price for like a little mini book. But yeah, I was like, I can't really justify like spending the amount that I would on a normal book on just like this tiny little novella. But then I found it at this like random little discount bookstore for like, I want to say $5, maybe even $3, I forget. But I was very excited about it because I've just always wanted to read it. I don't know if I can really say what it's about without spoiling Sorcery of Thorns, but we're following our main character and it looks like the setting is a ball, the midwinter ball, but something happens in like the magical house where they now need to kind of like, I guess, fix it. It sounds really cute. I definitely want to read more from this author as well. I know she has a few other books. Let me know if you've read other books by this author, Margaret Rogerson, and let me know what your favorite is because maybe I need to continue reading her backlist. But I'm not mad at having a short book on the TBR. Sometimes you just need something short and sweet, you know? Prompt number 3, a plant on the cover. Usually this is pretty easy, I feel like. Okay, we have a plant on the cover here, plant on the cover, plants on the cover. I feel like people love putting plants on covers. This one has a bunch of floral illustrations down the bottom. This one has a big hedge, so obviously a plant. We have a bunch of trees on this cover. We have so many options for this one. What do I feel like reading? Honestly, I think I kind of know what I want to go for, and I think I want to go for The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. I've been itching to get to this one recently. I've read 2 other books by Ashley Poston and absolutely loved them. And I think this might be the last adult novel that she's written that I haven't read, but I could be wrong. I feel like she's definitely written some other books, but I just don't know how many or like what they are. I feel like she's most famous for this book, The 7-Year Slip, and A Novel Love Story. And it just feels criminal that I haven't read this yet, because out of those 3, this is the oldest. This is a book about a woman who falls in love with a ghost. So we're following Florence. I love that name. Florence Day is a ghostwriter with one big problem. She's supposed to be penning swoon-worthy novels for famous romance author, but after a bad breakup, Florence no longer believes in love. So she's falling in love with the ghost of her hot editor. Cool. I think this is what like throws me off and like why I haven't read this book yet, is because I'm like, what do you mean she falls in love with a ghost? But in saying that, all of the books that I've read by Ashley Poston have some sort of like magical realism element to them. The 7-Year Slip has like a magical apartment and a bit of time traveling almost. And then A Novel Love Story, the main character literally enters into a fictional world that she's read about in her favorite books. So like, I shouldn't expect anything else, but I don't know why, but like falling in love with a ghost really throws me off, because I'm like, how is that going to work out? But I guess I'll need to read it to find out. Moving on to prompt number 4. Longest book on your TBR. Wow, okay. Well, we had the shortest book and now we have the longest book. Oh my gosh, is the longest book what I think it is? Potentially this one. We'll see. How many pages is it? Oh, it's not even that long. It's 526 pages. It looks like the thickest one. Let's see what else we have. I feel like Cruel is the Light looks quite long. Oh no, this one's only, I think, under 500. 475. It looks so thick. That's so interesting. Also, this is an ARC copy, but I have seen the like final copy in stores now. So if you want to read Cruel is the Light, it's out. We have The Order of Masks, and this one is, oh no, this one's literally 400 pages. Sometimes the taller ones, they look thicker, but they're not actually thicker. It just must be like thicker paper or something. Yeah, okay. Immortal Dark, also 400 pages. I don't think any of these are going to be over 500 pages, so it looks like Onyx Storm is the longest book on my TBR at the moment, which is crazy. I never thought the longest book on my TBR would be this. I guess I've read all of the ones that are a little bit longer, but I'm so excited because I really wanted to get to this in February. I've obviously seen all of the hype. So many people have finished this. So many people have read this already. I already feel like I'm like late to the bandwagon with this one, but this isn't my favorite series of all time. I really enjoy it and I find it a lot of fun, but it's like a 4-star series for me. It's not like a ride or die series for me. So I wasn't someone who was like, as soon as it's release day, I need to start it ASAP. But I still want to read it. I still want to enjoy it. And I think I might be either doing a buddy read with a friend or at least like reading it at a similar time as one of my friends so I can like discuss it with her, which I'm really excited about. But I just can't wait to get involved in the hype and kind of feel like I'm a part of things, because it's just like fun to read a book when everyone else is reading a book. You don't have to, obviously. It doesn't mean the story is different. It doesn't mean your reading experience will be different, but it is just like a fun thing to do. And obviously, like I said, I already like missed the main like train of hype that has come through this. And like I said, so many people already finished this. They're already theorizing for the next book, but I'm excited to continue the series. I'm hoping I remember enough from Iron Flame, because it feels like I read that forever ago. I have watched like a summary TikTok, which was very helpful, but I'm scared that I'm just gonna like not know all the characters, because I've already seen people being like, who is this character? And I'm like, I don't remember that character at all. So please no spoilers for me, but let me know if you've read this and let me know if you enjoyed it or not, because I've heard mixed reviews. I feel like it's more positive than Iron Flame was. Like I feel like Iron Flame, so many people were disappointed, whereas this, I feel like some people are loving it and some people aren't. So I'm very intrigued to see what I think. Prompt number 5, a popular BookTok book. I feel like out of the ones that I have on here, the ones that I've heard the most about on TikTok are probably Anxious People. Even My Brilliant Friend, I feel like I hear a lot of, like, none of these are like classic BookTok books. Like we don't have A Song of Achilles on here. We don't have, what else is a really classic BookTok book? Like even an Emily Henry book or an Ali Hazelwood or something. Like out of the ones that I have here, I feel like Immortal Dark, I've heard a lot about. Anxious People, I've heard a lot about. My Brilliant Friend, like I mentioned. The Wedding People actually could be one. I've heard a lot of hype about that semi-recently. I think I want to go with Anxious People though. I feel like this had hype like years ago, and then it's kind of been making the rounds again, which seems to happen with certain books. I feel like you'll hear a lot about them and then you'll hear nothing about them, and then they'll start to make their rounds again. And even books that are like a lot older, I think it's so interesting how they kind of come back around as well. Like Cassandra Clare, The Shadowhunters universe. That was popular when I was in high school, and I graduated almost 10 years ago, which is crazy. Like I remember being in high school and like my friends reading The Selection and The Shadowhunters universe. I didn't read it till years later, so I was definitely very late to the trend, but even now it's still making the rounds on social media, which is just so crazy to me. That's just like so fun how books can kind of come back around. Anyway, I'm rambling. I feel like Anxious People is one that, again, a few years ago, I heard a lot of people talking about it, and then I kind of heard nothing about it for a while, and I feel like last year I started hearing a lot about it again. And if you watched my 25 books I want to read in 2025, this is on that list, as well as Beartown by the same author, but I want to read this one before I go into Beartown. This will be my first Frederick Bachman book. I'm really excited. I'm very intrigued to see how I feel about his writing style, because so many people talk about how much they love his writing and the way he tells stories. So I'm excited. I'm really intrigued to see what I think of this. Also, I got this book when I was in New York. I got it from the Strand, and so it has a little like Strand barcode sticker on here, and I never want to take that off because it almost feels like special, like a souvenir that it says the Strand. Okay, last prompt for our February TBR, 6th and final. We have a book that you're unsure you will like. Okay, this is a great prompt because I feel like there are a lot of books on here that I'm like, maybe not. I can't really tell. I think I'm gonna go with The Enemy by Sarah Adams. I read the first book in this little mini series or like world, which was called The Match. The Match and The Enemy are both set in Charleston, which I love that setting. That's so fun. But I don't really know if this one is like connected. Enemies should never get a second chance, but this one might. So I guess it's gonna be like an enemies to lovers, but of course it's like a rom-com, so it's not gonna be like enemies fantasy enemies to lovers. It's been 12 years since June has seen her high school nemesis slash crush after he brutally humiliated her with an almost kiss at graduation. But now Ryan is back in town for their best friend's wedding, and June is itching to get even. Now a wildly successful bakery owner, June can't wait to rub every delicious detail of her life in his ugly face. I bet he's not ugly. Oh, unfortunately his face isn't ugly. In fact, Ryan is even sexier and more successful as a 3-year Michelin chef. We do love a chef than June could have imagined, and he's got his sights set on her. Okay, interesting. I just don't know if I'm gonna be obsessed with it. I think the other book I gave 3 or 3.5 stars, and 3.5 probably was a bit generous. Probably was more of a 3-star. They're just cute little rom-coms. They're good palette cleansers, I'm not gonna lie. I do prefer Sarah Adams' other books to these ones, at least based on The Match. So I'm just like not sure if I'm gonna love it. I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be fun. I don't think it'll be a 5-star read. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I'm gonna feel, and hence it corresponds with the prompt. I also wanted to make a little segment at the end of these TBR videos and talk about any new releases that I am hoping I will get to during that month, as well as the book club book with my besties, if we've already like picked it out and discussed it, because sometimes we don't know what it's going to be yet. So as for the book club that I have with my friends, we are going to be reading Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. I am very fascinated to see what I'm going to think of this. I really don't know what I'm going to think, and I think it's going to be a pretty like, not a hefty book, but I think it's going to take a lot to get through it. Like it's not just like a no-brainer kind of book. I think I'm gonna have to like put a bit of effort into it, which is fine, but it's just something I'm aware of. And then apart from that, there are a few new releases that I am absolutely ecstatic about, like cannot wait for, coming out in February. So, well, technically this one comes out at the end of January, but I don't think I'll get to it until February, and that is Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young, the author of Out on a Limb, Next to You, Next of Kin. Love her books, so I'm very, very excited about this. And it also follows the best friend From Out on a Limb. I definitely want to get to that one. I already have it pre-ordered. Then we have Deep End by Ali Hazelwood that comes out February 4th. I hope these dates are okay. I got these from Goodreads and I feel like sometimes they end up changing, but regardless, I think these will all be in February. But we have Deep End by Ali Hazelwood, which I'm intrigued, but I'm a bit nervous about, only because it's supposed to be quite spicy and I'm not a huge spice girl, but I'm still intrigued. Then we have the third book in the Emily Wilde series that comes out apparently February 11th. I have heard some people saying they've found early copies. I'm jealous. I've been looking. I haven't found one, but it's called Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. This is a 5-star prediction for me. I'm really excited about it. And then finally we have The Rebel Witch, which is the second and final book in the Heartless Hunter Crimson Moth duet. Very, very excited about that. I also kind of want to reread The Crimson Moth just to kind of like make sure I get the most out of the second book, and I also really liked the first one. I initially rated it 4.25 when I read it last year, and I'm almost like, why do I feel like it's higher in my brain? Like, why do I feel like it's like a 4.5? But we'll see. Maybe I'll do a reread, maybe I'll change my rating, I don't know. But I'm very excited about all of those books. They all sound incredible. We have so many fun new releases coming out this year, and so I think it'll be fun to kind of discuss that at the end of my TBR jar videos, because these other books are like loosely on my TBR as well, fingers crossed. But let me do some reorganizing and then we will quickly go over the books that I have on my official February TBR. First up we have Funny Feelings, Mysteries of Thorn Manor, The Dead Romantics, Onyx Storm, Anxious People, and lastly The Enemy. I'm really happy with this month's TBR. Like, I'm genuinely so excited about it. We have some romance, we have some general fiction, we have some fantasy, not to mention the new releases coming out. Like, I'm excited for February. I can't wait to see what I end up reading and what I end up rating the books that I read. Do I have any 5-star predictions? No. I think I'll be surprised if any of these hit that 5-star mark for me, but I'm hoping something will. Like, who doesn't want a 5-star read? But there we have my February TBR. I would love to hear what is on your TBR. Let me know in the comments below, and I guess I'll see you guys in my next video very soon. Goodbye.